Hello, this is the Lord's Legion and welcome to a brand new movie review, and as you can see, this is a part of the series known as The Path to Infinity War, where I'm going to be looking back on each and every film within the Marvel Cinematic Universe before the release of Avengers Infinity War. And at long last, we've reached to the final film within Phase 1, which is of course The Avengers. To which to this day, many people deem this to be one of the best films in the MCU thus far, but does this really still live up to that claim? Well, let's take a look. Now, when it comes down to an ensemble movie, the plot itself is as simple as it gets, as we have the return of Loki after the events of Thor, and now he wants to claim Midgard, or rather Earth, for himself. And with the threat of Loki and the Chitauri army, it is up to Iron Man, Captain America, Thor, Hulk, Black Widow, and Hawkeye to team up and form the Avengers in order to stop this threat. Now, although the story itself is very simplistic, this does actually work in the film's favour, as this does allow the Avengers to bond as a team. And given how this is the first time the Avengers have assembled, it is pretty important for the Avengers to have character development within themselves. But does this film actually succeed in that regard? Well, for the most part, yeah. And despite how some of the characters do overshadow one another, I think all of the Avengers do have wonderful chemistry together. Robert Downey Jr. as Iron Man is always a treat to watch, and I love how he was a rebellious wildcard within the team itself, easily making Tony Stark as one of the most memorable and enjoyable characters within the whole film. Chris Evans has once again did a pretty good job as Captain America, and unfortunately for him, he didn't really have much standout moments. But given credit where credit is due, at the very least he had some really good character development, and he does bounce off with Tony Stark as well as the other members. Scarlett Johansson in this film has finally got given her due as the Black Widow, and she delivered a pretty kick-ass performance and was leagues better from the Black Widow from Iron Man 2. Because in the Avengers, not only does Black Widow have a lot more to do, but she was written a billion times better. Mark Ruffalo in this movie was a fantastic replacement as Bruce Banner, and although I don't particularly think he's really better than Edward Norton, I do think Mark Ruffalo is awesome for different reasons, and I honestly see them as two completely different characters. And in the long run, I do believe that Mark Ruffalo does blend in better in the MCU as opposed to Edward Norton. In my opinion, I do feel like Chris Hemsworth wasn't given as much to do in the Avengers as Thor, but that being said, he was still as solid as he was in his own solo movie, and he had some pretty badass scenes that more than makes up for this. And lastly, from the Avengers roster, we do have Hawkeye, played by Jeremy Renner, and unfortunately he was very underutilized, as Hawkeye was pretty much brainwashed for the majority of the movie, and for Hawkeye's proper introduction he did deserve better. And of course, I could not forget about the deliciously devious character of Loki, played by Tom Hiddleston once again. And what can I say that hasn't been said already, apart from the fact that he is easily one of the best villains in the MCU. And he was a delight to watch as the main villain. He isn't as threatening as most villains, but he is always 10 steps ahead of everyone else. And Loki really does stand out because of his charm, as well as his calculating ways. Each and every fight scene in the Avengers were pretty memorable, and easily one of the most memorable moments in the entire MCU. The fight between Iron Man and Thor was really fun to watch, and seeing the Hulk rampage for the first time in the helicarrier was really intriguing. Hell, even Loki's introduction in this movie was really kick-ass. But the icing on the cake was of course the final battle in New York, especially with the climax in which all of the Avengers finally assembled together on screen, easily being one of the most iconic moments in cinema history. The special effects for the most part still really do hold up well, although I do feel like the Hulk at times did seem a little shaky. But considering how the Hulk did have one of the best moments in the entire movie, I could easily let that slide. And as much praise as I have given this film thus far, that doesn't mean The Avengers is necessarily perfect, because I do feel like the movie does have some pacing issues, most notably with the second act where everything takes place in the helicarrier, because by that point it did feel like the movie was dragging and that it could have well been cut short. And as I already mentioned earlier, I don't think the Avengers were necessarily balanced. Not so much in terms of power scale, although that too, but more in the case in that some characters within the Avengers do overshadow the others. And within the group, I do feel like Hawkeye, Thor, and to an extension Captain America were the ones that suffered the most. and I felt like these characters could have had a bit more to do. And although I don't particularly see The Avengers as the best film within the MCU, I do understand where many people are coming from, because despite its faults, The Avengers did nail exactly what it wanted to be. A big fun ensemble movie featuring some of the most popular characters within Marvel Comics. And like I said, I do have some little gripes with The Avengers, but even I can't deny that The Avengers is a really solid and fun film. And watching The Avengers again, I can safely say that it still really does hold up strongly well despite some of its flaws. And so for my final verdict for The Avengers, I'm going to go ahead and give it a 9 out of 10. I don't think The Avengers is the best film in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, but for what it's worth, The Avengers is a very worthy addition. And ultimately, there's quite a lot of things to enjoy out of The Avengers. So what do you think of The Avengers? Do you think that's one of the best films in the MCU, or do you believe that's a little bit overrated? Comment below and share some thoughts. And as always, thank you guys for watching this video. Please like and subscribe. Take care and have a good one.